So
All
just
right, go ahead.
if I stay over here, then I'm good.
Yes, stay on that paper towel. Yep.
Okay.
Whenever you begin.
Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is remove these Kynar end pieces. It might be a little bit, I've got a newer one here. I want to demonstrate this with a newer one. It's not as stuck together. I've got an older one here I'll do as well, but I want to remove these. So now on the end, we've got this quartz dielectric sticking out, and there's a Viton rubber O-ring in either side. And to get that loosened up, use a little bit of soapy water. Just spray it in the end there. And then I like to just hold this on either hand and gently push back and forth. I might have to kind of grip on the side of here, but then put some force and just keep pushing it back and forth. Okay, now it broke loose, and with that soapy water, it's slippery. So now I can slide this quartz dielectric out of here. Got one of the O-rings there, and this one slides out of this end. So this is one set of the O-rings. These are a little bit smaller, and the fatter ones, they just slide right over the top. Over time, they can start getting crusty and brittle and start getting cracks, and then that will begin to leak. These caps, when they thread on, they're squishing that O-ring between that gap. So there's going to be a gap inside this, between the stainless steel shell and the outside of this dielectric. So there's a gap in between there, and that O-ring seals that up. Now there is another O-ring sealing between this Kynar end cap and the stainless steel shell. That can be a little bit more difficult to get that out. You want to get this in a safe place. You usually have to use some type of wrench like this and apply a bit of force in order to get that loosened up. Once you get it loose, here again, putting a little soapy water in there can help. Adding some soapy water there too. If this whole cell is assembled and you put some air pressure on it and you start seeing bubbles, then you'll know that seal is leaking. Most often this is the seal that's leaking, and sometimes just tightening down this end cap can fix it. But putting a new O-ring in there, or even switching it around so that the smooth side is facing, if you don't have a new ring. But you need to gently turn this and push it out at the same time. Add a little bit more soapy water there. Okay. So here's this other O-ring, and it's a finer O-ring. You'll need a little pick to get that loose. And that will come out. So we've got both sizes available. This one's a thinner O-ring. That's the one that we need to seal this. When you're putting it back together, it's good to have some type of lubrication so that when this slides over, it doesn't roll out of there. This one's not wanting to slide on real easy. And it might need a bit of force to get that to go on, but turning it and pushing it at the same time, usually the best way to get that on there. And on the inside, you can see when it comes all the way to the end. I'm still not there yet. I may need to push down on this. Let's see. Sometimes it's best to have a couple of people to do this. You have to push it down and turn at the same time. There we go. So now it's all the way up to the edge there, and it's put back together. You can turn this, putting things back together. Have one ring on one side, stick out a little bit on the other side, get my O-ring on, and then the caps. And with these caps, we just want to hand tighten. Now this one's wanting to turn a little bit. Now it looks like I've got this one sticking out a little bit further than on this side. I can loosen this up again. Try to make them even. Push it back through a little bit further. There we go. Okay, and then these can be orientated, depending on where your tubes are to feed this. As long as that O-ring has got a little bit of soapy water on there, it'll turn. So that's the newer style. This is an older one, and you can see there's quite a bit of rust. This one did not have dry feed gas, so inside this tube, the nitric acid built up, and it got rusty, so I'm sure this one's in bad shape. Do you want to disconnect the electrode here? Remove the end cap. These sometimes are kind of tight. This one's not too bad. Once again, I want to put a little bit of soapy water here, and then gently try to push this back and forth to get that loose. This is the older style. It's got a different type of heat sink on it. Oop. Yeah, so this one here, the quartz has cracked, so now I'm risking poking myself, so it makes it more challenging. I'm just going to try pushing from one side so I don't hurt myself. Yeah, it's starting to move, but it's very tight. I suspect there we go. All right, so this one's got a little bit more of a brown from nitric acid in there. And you can see on the O-ring, it's kind of cracked and crusty here on the side. Inside, we've got a lot of rust and things inside. We can clean that out with some water, run a brush through there, get that all nice and cleaned out. And yeah, we want to take this all apart, put new O-rings, especially if this has been used a while. We want to put all new O-rings. There's a lot of rust in there. We want to clean that out before we put that all back together. This dielectric, yeah, it's cracked pretty bad. Actually, it's not all the way down to where the O-ring is, but we're going to need a new electrode as well. And we've got all these parts available online, both types of O-rings, the end caps, new ends with the nipples on. It's all available online. So I hope this has helped you out with working on these generators. They're very rebuildable, and it's a good product, and they can be fixed. Thank you.